Now, with governments crumbling in crisis, the US Treasury hitting all-time high, and central banks raising interest rates to the highest levels since now, the US dollar still seems to come out on top. From January of 2022 to where we are now, the US dollar peaked at its highest, up 20% just from the start of this year. But it's always in times of crisis when the US dollar actually outperforms the stock market and doesn't actually trail along with it. The stock market since January of 2022 this year has been down all the way to 26%, while the US dollar got all the way up to 20%, almost playing completely inverse the US stock market. And during the times of worldly crisis, the US dollar is always popping out on top and showing its dominance to be the best. You can see right here, Russia up 13%, Brazil up 6%, but every other currency, Switzerland, Indonesia, India, Canada, China, Euro, Australia, Euro, South Africa, South Korea, Japan, Pakistan, and Turkey, all down a substantial amount during these times of crisis. However, for many countries, the weakening of their currencies relative to the US dollar has made the inflation fight even harder for them. There is now an alliance forming called BRICS. You see, it all started after 07-08 financial crisis that originated in the US. The reliability of the US government as a partner in global financial affairs was destroyed. In 2009, Russia hosted the first BRICS summit to establish a better international financial system with China, India, Brazil, South Africa, and later in the future, BRICS plus partners. In short, a new multipolar order, BRICS is challenging the US dollar reserve currency status. That started a new Cold War with Russia and China. US national debt is now at 31 trillion, total US debt is at 92 trillion, and total US funded liabilities are at 172 trillion, and all of that without any US government surplus pay for any of it. Only more debt and more money printing. The US government knows that without the reserve currency status, it is bankrupt. Without money printing on the backs of other nations, it's simply game over for the US. But not just for the US, the EU and most Western democracies followed the US model of endless debt and money printing. That is why they stand with the US and support the escalating actions that seem totally illogical to most people. Why is the EU sacrificing prosperity for a US proxy war in Ukraine? Because if the US is collapsing, they collapse too. Their alliance is glued by the fear of failure. BRICS Plus was on track to launch its new global financial system by 2030. Ukraine is the tool for conflict with Russia, and Taiwan is the tool for conflict with China. Eventually, the US and NATO will be at war with Russia and China. They simply don't seem to have another choice. It's either war with Russia and China to stop BRICS or the financial collapse of the US, EU, an entire debt and money printing circus. It was never about the people of Ukraine. Ukraine is a sideshow. The main event is yet to come. Now, what I wanted to pull out of this is that while the US dollar looks strong and it outperforms the stock market in economic crisis, if you actually take a look at it from a macro perspective, you will see that the US dollar is actually a failing currency, and it is ultimately just ping-ponging in this downtrend until over time it slowly becomes worthless and the debt outweighs any worth as of right now. Which leads me to touch on one point, and that is to stop saving your money. Don't put your money in banks, because let me tell you something right now. Let's say the S&P 500 is still down 26% and the US dollar is up 20%, which of course they are still very close to those levels. If you put all of your cash into that S&P 500 at that time, at that moment, you're creating one of the best wealth transfers for yourself that you could ever do. Let me explain. Every time the US dollar leaves this range, it has a quick pump and immediately gets slapped back down in the near future. Ultimately, you save money up here, and then it slowly becomes worth less and less and less, and you keep going to work for more and then pay more bills, and essentially your money is just deteriorating. And what's funny about that is even if you're saving your money in the bank, they're putting it into things like the S&P 500 that gives an average return of 10% plus a dividend, and the banks are giving you almost not even 1% back on your money. So do me a favor and stop saving your money, but let's touch back on why the US dollar is a failing currency and what's next. Well, not only BRICS, but this says Latin America leftists renew push for shared currency, but its chances are slim. A lot more countries are trying to figure out their own currency to go against the US dollar, but not only other countries, the US itself is actually testing a digital dollar. Now, why would they be doing this if we have one of the strongest currencies in the world? In its New York subsidiary, the US Federal Reserve completed the first test project of CBDC, the initiative testing a central bank digital currency Cbdc, the New York Innovation Center carried out its first phase and highlighted the potential for digital assets and blockchain technology to improve legacy payment rails. According to the report, the legacy financial rails can settle a wholesale transaction for the FX market in 48 hours. The digital dollar, however, tested the New York Fed was much faster and could reduce counterparty and credit risk while providing institutions with more freedom and resources to allocate elsewhere. Is the digital dollar only going to be for the benefit of the bigger players? Do you think this may not be a thing or this may not work? Well, the NYIC classified the first test phase as successful, so don't get ahead of yourself. Now, a lot of these controlled news outlets are going to be telling you to save your money, you have to do this, you have to do that. They want you to cycle your money back into central banks so that they can recycle it and keep running the economy in the way it's been running, which will always keep you in the 99% category. So if you want the greatest wealth transfer of your life, you're actually being handed the opportunity right now in a way where you don't have to go into the entrepreneurship level and open your own business and do this and that. So take the chance while you can. And if you're asking yourself, well, is it even a good time to invest in the stock market, or I only have $1,000 to invest into the stock market, or even I have nothing to invest into the stock market and I don't even save my money? Well, where we are now, the stock market is down about 20%, and on average, if you catch this level, you will have one of the greatest returns possible, and not a lot of people actually ever catch these levels. Now, of course, this can be different, this can be worse, as it did hit a bottom so far of 26% down and can fall much further. However, the S&P 500 isn't a stock you hold for a week or a year. This is a long-term hold. Now, during crisis, again, if we reiterate the point, inflation is bad and the market could fall even harder, as the gray is the chart of the '08 crash overlaid over where we are now, and it does look like we are going to fall further just the way things have been rhyming. But again, even if that is the case, the US dollar is at a very, very high level, and assuming it is going to crash, the stock market will go up, and essentially the stock market will go up anyway, as it is a very, 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 very strong and safe ETF that gives you an average return of 10% with a 1.4-ish% dividend yield. I may or may not be off by a little bit. However, this one's scaling up while the US dollar is scaling down. It is a failing currency. So let me know down in the comments down below what you are going to be doing with your money, and if this video helped you or gave value to you at all. And you know what? If you have zero money to invest, I have a limited offer that I can offer all of my audience to give you a $10 cash coupon plus 15 free stocks, each valued up to $2,000 per stock. Guess what? This takes 5 minutes out of your day, and people get on average between $70 and $250 from doing this. All you have to do is press the link pinned in the top of comments, download Moomoo, sign up, and deposit even a penny. Deposit any amount and you will get these benefits. So guys, hopefully you enjoyed the video. Please consider smashing that like button. It is free, and this video took many tabs to open and many retakes to do, as I tried to record it last night and it just didn't work out. So just hit the like for me. It is free, and subscribe to the channel as we are almost at 7K subs. Drop a comment down below what like you are and what you're doing with your money, and if this is valid or not. Love you all. Lottery Stocks out.